Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decipher all those confusing company reports. Today we're diving into Bluejay Diagnostics proxy statement, and let me tell you, it's got a little bit of everything. From electing directors to possibly splitting their stock not just once but twice, before splitting their stock not just once but twice. Before we jump in, if you find this kind of analysis helpful, make sure to subscribe. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below, so come join the conversation. So what's a proxy statement? Think of it as a guide for shareholders to make informed decisions about important company matters. This one is packed with information about Bluejay's upcoming annual meeting, including who they want on the board and some big moves they want to make with their stock. First up, we have the election of directors. Stockholders get to vote on who will sit on Bluejay's board. This year, they're asking you to vote for 5 people: Neil Dye, Douglas Worth, Svetlana Day, Donald Chase, and Fred Seidman. If elected, they'll serve until the next annual meeting in 2026. Neil Day is the president and CEO. He co-founded the company back in 2015. Before Bluejay, he was involved in management consulting. Douglas Worth is the chairman of the board. He's got a background in finance, having worked at JP Morgan for almost 20 years. Svetlana Day is Neil Day's wife. She also co-founded Bluejay Diagnostics in 2015 and has a history in healthcare consulting. Donald Chase has been on the board since 2017. He has experience in banking and real estate. Fred Seidman joined the board in 2021. He has experience in investment banking and real estate. Fred Seidman joined the board in 2021. He has experience in investment banking. To get elected, these folks need a plurality of the votes. That basically means they need to get more for votes than anyone else running for the same seat. Now, let's talk about something that might sound a little complicated: reverse stock splits. Bluejay wants to potentially do this, and they're asking shareholders to approve not 1 but 2 proposals to make it happen. Why? Well, they want to boost the price of their stock. They need to keep their stock price above $1 to stay listed on the Nasdaq. If the price falls below that, they risk getting kicked off the exchange. So what's a reverse stock split? It's when a company reduces the number of its outstanding shares. Imagine you have 2 shares of a pie and each piece is small. A reverse split is like combining those pieces into one bigger slice, but you still have the same amount of pie. In this case, Bluejay is considering reverse stock splits at ratios of 1:2, 1:3, all the way up to 1:20. If they did a 1:10 reverse split, every 10 shares you own would become 1 share. The board would get to decide the exact ratio based on things like the stock price, market conditions, and what they think is best for keeping the company listed on Nasdaq. Here's where it gets interesting. They want the option to do another reverse stock split within the year. This proposal 3 gives them the power to do that, again with ratios ranging from 1:2 to 1:20. Their justification is that the reverse stock split could achieve the goals and make the additional reverse stock split unnecessary, but it's seeking approval for more flexibility. If they do either of these reverse stock splits, it'll also affect stock options and other stock-based awards. The company would adjust the number of shares and the price of those awards to account for the split. Finally, they're asking shareholders to ratify the appointment of Wolf & Company as their independent registered public accounting firm for the year. Basically, stockholders get to vote to approve the company who will be checking Bluejay's financial statements for the year. The audit committee has already picked Wolf & Company, so this vote is more of a formality. The fees for Wolf & Company's services are broken down as follows. Audit fees, which covered the financial review, total to $24,267,500 compared to $39.49 the previous year. Audit-related fees, mostly for assurance services, totaled $11,590 or $34,650 compared to $36,500 the previous year. They're also paying some tax fees of $9,000. Just slightly more than the $8,000 from the year before. Altogether, Bluejay paid Wolf & Company over $30,500 the previous year. They're also paying some tax fees of $9,000, just slightly more than the $8,000 from the year before. Altogether, Bluejay paid Wolf & Company over $34,000 more than the $8,000 from the year before. Altogether, Bluejay paid Wolf & Company over $43,767,500 the previous year than $749,000. Now let's talk about who owns this company and how much they control. Neil Dye, the CEO, has controlled over 601 shares. Douglas Worth, the chairman, controls 430 shares. Donald Chase controls 110 shares. Jason Cook, the chief Chief Technology Officer, controls 22 shares. Donald Chase controls 1110 shares. Jason Cook, the Chief Technology Officer, controls 110 shares. Jason Cook, the Chief Technology Officer, controls 22 shares. Fred Zeidman controls 5 shares. Gary Germaniani has 6 shares. Let's take a quick peek at the executive compensation. Neil Day, as CEO, received a salary of $283,800 in the current year, a little less than the $285,285,2085 the previous from the year before. This proxy statement also mentions Francis Scally, who was the interim chief financial officer but not an employee of the company, and I was compared to Scally, who was the interim chief financial officer but not an employee of the company. There's also a related party transaction with Nanohybrids LLC, a company where Jason Cook used to be the CEO and is still a majority shareholder. Bluejay uses their R&D staff to do work for Nanohybrids, billing them for the cost plus a bit extra. They received over $27.79 take on all of this. Bluejay is clearly focused on maintaining its NASDAQ listing, and the proposed reverse stock splits are a direct response to that pressure. However, reverse stock splits can be a double-edged sword. While they can temporarily boost the stock price, they don't address the underlying issues causing the stock to trade low. There is a big risk, as the market may not react well, and it will be harder to trade their stocks. It could also suggest that it's not a very attractive company for new investors. The related party transaction with Nanohybrids raises some questions. While it's not necessarily a bad thing, it does warrant scrutiny to ensure it's fair to Bluejay and its shareholders. The huge jump in the fees paid to Wolf & Company could also be a sign of something big happening in Bluejay. It's definitely something investors should pay attention to. Overall, Bluejay faces some challenges, but the company has some opportunities too. It's going to be crucial for Bluejay to execute its plans and demonstrate that it can deliver value to shareholders. Alright, that's our breakdown of Bluejay Diagnostics proxy statement. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.